Well, hello everyone. How you doing? Tuesday night caught me. Actually, I was writing. So, how are you? How is everyone? Hope your day was going good. If you ask me, I think the world is definitely getting stranger. I don't know. It just seems to get, how should we say, more Twilight Zone all the time. Well, how are you? Brad, good to see you, buddy. Trust that you're doing good. Good to see you. Thank you. Who's all else? Jolie, hello. Desert Rose, hello. How are you doing? Soul Journey, up. Well, thanks. Glad to have you in. Appreciate it. How you doing? Chris, good to see you. Sharon King, good to see you. Brian, good to see you, my friend. Rachel, hello. Cove Man, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Pete, Simply Michelle, good to see you as well. Hello, hello. 66. Look down there, 66. So anyway, I found out something today from that video I posted. You know, the one that says, "Does your soul stink?" I don't think like people like the word stink. I don't think some of them don't like that word. And never thought about it before, but it shows how things can register on us that normally you don't think about. I never thought about it and says, "Boy, you stink." You have to laugh, folks. You have to laugh. And so thanks all the moderators. Thank everyone that's up. Hey, Gregory, how you doing, my friend? Great White Hunter, good to see you. D Swinger, hello. J.A., good to see you, my friend. Mark, good to see you. Boy, just getting a full crowd. So, polling the room tonight, how many of you saw this Falcon heavy rocket take off today? I got to tell you what, I recorded it. It is exciting. I mean, you read so much negative press about Elon Musk. I mean, people try to say he's fake and, all the other things. But what I witnessed today, what the world witnessed today, was a giant leap. Hello, Claudette. How you doing? For our planet. This rocket, folks, which is the 3-stage Falcon heavy lifters, 70% bigger, I believe, than the Saturn V. The main stage rocket is powerful enough, folks, to send us to Mars. This is a big deal. I'm sure that the Russians took note of what happened today. And then the most amazing thing about it was when they landed the refueling rockets. I'm sitting there just going, holy crap, 50 years ago, this was science fiction. This is what they made movies on. The fact that we could actually land reusable rockets. And when I saw both of those rockets nearly come down in parallel in a perfect 3-point landing, along with the one on the barge out in the Atlantic, just phenomenal. And I think it blows away all the flat earth people because it does show that round thing up there, but who knows? I'm not going to start that hornet's nest. But it was a remarkable experience, just thrilling. And congratulations to you, Mr. Musk, a visionary futurist that you are. Let's continue on now. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. That's all I got to say. If you haven't, like I said, get a chance. So someone asked, and I could give these away, I guess, if I want to. So I finished this one. Let me get it out here in the right light. You're getting sleepy. Anyway, there you go. What do you think? Comments? commentary, color commentary. So anyway, there you go. Wow, there's 100 of us in here tonight. Well, good to see everyone. So anyway, check it out. Yeah, Mercury 7, that launch was something special. It really was. It made me happy, to be honest with you. So, Claudette, colorful. Yeah, well, it's what my personality is. Colorful personality. So, someone, my wife said, reminded her of Peter Max. And I hadn't really thought about that, but I guess when I do look at it, it does have that kind of look on that. Y'all really should do these. And then we should take pictures and share it with everyone so everyone can actually see what we're doing. Here's one. Y'all remember this one. Get back in the light. There we go. Far out. That's what I say. And then, of course, this last one. So there we go. All of us have an artist inside of us. All of us do. It's why we love to color as children. It allowed us to express ourselves in the form of what I think the spirit really is, immersion into colors and to textures and to feels. But yeah, you know, pretty cool, huh? What did someone say? I'd love to know what they launched. Well, we know they launched a car, or at least a little tiny one. Did y'all see that? I thought that one was pretty cool. They actually launched that car with that payload. So anyway, so there you go. So anyway, I've spent 7 minutes of your day that hopefully you found illuminating. But if some of you do color, send me pictures of it. I'll post it. Let's see. I am going to go around the world and meet folks. Oh, you meant actually live interviews? No, I'm not doing that tonight. But we are going to look at what's going around in the world. Zendoodle. Yeah, I've heard that, Joanna, as well. Yeah. Well, thank you, folks. It's just fun. So, hey, let's check some things out. I pulled up some. So, this is our world. Very quickly, folks. I just want to let you know everything. This is not even the fringe media. This is basically kind of mainstream media. So I just thought, let's just run through the headlines together. So this flu, man, bad. 16 more children dead from the flu. The peak is still to come. I just read today that there is another wave coming through. I don't know. It just sounds a little strange to me, almost like it's planned, right? So here's an interesting article at the New York Post. The tech giants are the robber barons of our time. It's quite amazing when you see the medium that all of us are communicating on. All of us form a community around. It's basically rented property because these cats, they kind of own it. You know, when you begin to think about what the top 10 in the tech giants actually own as far as digital media is concerned, communication, social, etc., it's these cats. And boy, we're making them rich. You and I are really rich. When they start getting this rich, these are the guys. And where are the women? That's what I don't get. Come on. Where are the women in this situation? But here's the thing. Most of us probably never looked at it this way, but these guys are the John D. Rockefellers and the J.P. Morgans of the early 20th century. And you look at what and how they shaped society, shaped politics, shaped laws. And now we have a new group. And Jeff Bezos has got so much money. I read an article today in Barron's that this guy is, no, megalomaniac. I don't know. He can buy anything he wants. He could buy countries, literally. The kind of wealth that they now, and with wealth comes great power. So anyway, little commentary on the social side of this equation. I still ask, how much money can one person accumulate? And for what? I don't know. I don't get that. Maybe they just don't care. All right, folks, we've been talking about transhumanism. Listen, I've got many. You go back and look at the Bloodline Invader series. What I was trying to communicate in that extensive series was we are already in the midst of transmutation. Not going to happen. It's happening now. We're all being impacted by it. It's just that we're not aware of it. We're basically kind of anesthetized to it. You know, when we communicate on this medium, remember, most of us are using Wi-Fi. But here you go. Your whole body could be replaced or upgraded with robot parts by 2070. Now, for people being born today, this begins to really alter their future in a way that my generation, the baby boomers, we only fantasized about. We wrote about, we made movies about. They're going to live it. Imagine that. So if you can manage to keep yourself alive by then, you could do a complete upgrade. Probably do pretty good piecemeal, which today, you think about it, let's see what you can get. You can get artificial hips, artificial knees, artificial elbows, or you begin to look at the list of what you can actually begin to put in you, machine made. Many of us are, you know, could see the day coming where the $6 million man, hello, Lee Majors, is actually a reality today. So there you go, folks. All right. I want to know about this. This is one that just, you know, I've did a two-part series on breaking the God spell. And people ask where I stand on religion. Well, let's take a look at this article here. So this article is about the fact that this current pope received victims' letters in 2015 that graphically detailed how a priest sexually abused him and how other Chilean clergy ignored it, contradicting the Pope's recent insistence that no victims had come forward to denounce the cover-up. The letter's author and members of France's own sex abuse commission have told the Associated Press. I don't know. People sometimes criticize me heavily because when I try to tell them Christianity is an amalgamated collection of religions that worship anything but a holy God. And it's been going on for nearly 2,000 years. This is nothing new to the Vatican. This has been going on almost again from the very beginning. I'm a common sense guy. I don't have the paper degrees, but I am a pretty intelligent dude. And this is what I know in life. If the foundation is corrupt, the entire building is corrupt. And, I don't get into the whole pedophilia thing because I just don't know. It's a black thing. It's a negative thing. It's attached to something that is alive. And this I just don't understand. And how we allow this to continue on under the guise that, shit happens. I mean, that's basically the attitude. I know some people think it's a crass word. Actually, all it is an acronym for store high in transit. That's all. Otherwise, it's going to stink. All right. I know. Like, Wayne, you picked the best times to interject, right? So anyway, we all have our own opinions on this, but it's like, it's hidden right in front of us. The video I did today, this is hidden right in front of us. We see it, but are completely blind to it. All right, enough of that. I just thought this was odd. What's the best way to rob a bank? A cop. I hope it's not that bad out there, really, folks, that we have law enforcement robbing cops. Although, no, I won't even go down that road. We'll continue it on. All right. So this, folks, is not good. There has been controversy since the Obama administration when we first learned what the Chinese were doing, literally building militarized islands. This is one of them. And this has been ongoing. And you can see this is no small complex. They have completely militarized this area in the South China Sea. So these were taken between June and December of 2017, and were snapped from an altitude of 1,500 meters. So what is that? Basically about a mile up. Wouldn't that be about right? Yeah. So what makes this as a problem, I study history, war history, and happened to really be a buff in World War II. World War II was a lot of strange things going on there. But one of our problems we had with the Japanese when the attack on Pearl Harbor took place was that we did not take a more proactive step in kind of defending these barrier reef islands. And as a result, when they nearly took our Navy out, we found that they had dug themselves in like a tick, on a hound dog in the middle of August. You ain't pulling the thing out. And this is what's happened. And when you begin to think about the Chinese and the size of their Navy now, this is nothing more than chess. It's just a matter, actually, it's the game of Risk. They're building their areas, and it gets worse. I got another story coming up. So they've got now militarized islands out there, folks. And Yeah, you do the math on the rest of that. I thought this one was odd. So the rich keep getting richer, the poor keep getting poorer. Isn't that what we've heard throughout history? People sometimes contend with my contention that mankind as a species, people kind, humankind, whatever kind, we have not advanced all that much. No, very, very small. So here's a problem. Apparently, the country of Monaco is running out of places for the millionaires. I think that's a sad problem. When you got 38,000 residents, which are all millionaires, yeah. I mean, get this though. This is their solution to this now. They're going to start reclaiming ocean and start building places up on that. Yeah, so that's a sad problem. I just thought y'all'd like to know about that one. All right, we talked about it. Here it is. I got to tell you what, folks, we spent enough time on this, but there's the car, the Starman car. They had David Bowie going on, by the way. So, yeah, very cool, very cool. How about this? Would you be willing to submit yourself voluntarily to brain shocks, electrical shocks to your brain, if you knew it was going to boost your memory by 15%? Would you do it? Wonder. Look at this. A device that gives the brain electric shocks has promoted hope for Alzheimer's patients. Now, isn't it odd how we found back in the 20th century, and is even as early as the 19th century, that we knew electrical shock would have impact on patients that suffered dementia. It was unfortunately much experimentation took place for them to get to this point today. And I can almost do a whole show on that one. But in any case, so they've actually now they're building a device. So I think the question is, let's say you had a parent. And, the thing about memory loss, dementia, Alzheimer's, is that as opposed to other diseases, this one takes away the personality. That's a question we ought to ponder. If a person's memory of who they are is gone, but otherwise their brain functions normally, their body does, is that person gone? Who's in the body? Is it the soul? That's the question I have. Who's there? But anyway, I just found this one I thought was interesting if you could do it. Here's a news bulletin. Los Angeles, your traffic is the worst in the world. Again, I've been to LA many, many, many times. I don't get it. I don't find what the lure is. But, hey, if this is what you call normalcy, are you serious? I don't know. Yeah. Okay. How about this? Now, if this isn't telling you things are changing on a global scale, here we are in February, and in the San Joaquin Valley, they are being tormented with mosquitoes. Can you believe this? February. Now, I know I lived in Sacramento. Even in February is typically the rainy season. And yeah, it's nice, but you don't have mosquitoes. It has to be warmer than that. Well, apparently they are getting sucked dry, so to speak. Feel sorry for you folks. And you know the other things they have out there? Many places call them, in the South, they call them no-see-ums, little gnats that are less than, you can't even, seriously, it's hard to see them. They're that small. But when they bite, wow. I remember when I was out there, and it's been many couple decades ago, that I remember one spring and got bit several times. It took those bites months to heal. So sorry about that, folks, but it's more affirmation on this. Well, here you go. I had to pull this up. So Tulsa, Oklahoma, the last place where you will ever see, marijuana, you would think, ever becoming legal. Who knows? But apparently the postal workers know, and I guess they figured out a way how they could actually get a little of their pot. Yeah. So there you go. You read stories all the time about, postal workers who won't deliver the mail. I just read one recently about one guy had a ton of mail in his apartment. That's 2,000 pounds. So don't mail marijuana in the United States mail. Get you in trouble. All right, I talked about China a minute ago, right? Well, here is a story on CNBC about how Russia and China are colluding with one another to beat the U.S. out of the $1 trillion race to control the Arctic. Now, if in fact our planet is shifting, and if in fact we're seeing weather patterns shifting, and if in fact we are in the midst of a magnetic pole shift, that's going to open up vast areas of our planet for mineral exploitation. That's what it is exploitation. And whoever controls it is going to rule the world, literally. As passageways, they anticipate shipping lanes will begin to be opened up through the Arctic Ocean. It cuts a tremendous amount of time in shipping, say from China, Russia, over to the other side of Europe, even the US. So yeah, and this is what I was talking about. As you can see what's happening now, the only thing I got to say on this is that if the Beaufort Gyre lets loose, then I think this whole story could be a whole different story. But anyway, $35 trillion worth of untapped oil and natural gas. Makes you feel good, doesn't it? All right. So we all saw the movies of the 80s, the remakes in the 2000s of RoboCop. Well, here you go. This story intrigues me for this reason, and this reason alone. The story I did today, that your soul stinks, really what you see at the core of that is emotions, right? Emotions can overrule our senses, overrule our good judgments, overrule our intuition, when we put people in positions as judges. If you ever go up before a judge, he goes by a set of guidelines, or she, statutes, sometimes mandates, requirements. But no matter how you look at it, it's still going to be that judge's personality. You're going to get the biased, you're going to get the prejudice, you're going to get the bigotry. People don't like to admit this, but we all have bigotries. We don't like to admit it, but you could say that, well, I don't like evil. Well, in the truest definition of the word, you're a bigot. Just depends on how you look at it. So imagine now, this is the day the earth stood still in the 50s, the black and white. And the robot that they gave complete power and authority to rule the planets and their star systems, right? Maybe that's the only way to have a fair and unbiased police force. No emotions. But then again, you would lack that whole thing called empathy, wouldn't you? Yeah. Here we go. Right out of the Los Angeles Times, humanity will need to make some drastic changes if it wants to keep the good life going. Well, that's what all life is about, right? It's the good life. Yeah. So, bad news, Earthlings. It may be possible for everyone on the planet to live a good life. It may also be possible for humans to live within their environmental means. So, again, when I read this article in here, it talks about water, food, electricity, the basic things that we find the basic necessities. Now, with some, they would say it's the basic rights, human rights. But the point is, more and more people making more and more demands. You got to feed them. And we've talked about this. We'll continue to talk about it. Going to get Dr. Miller back on. We're going to talk about, really, there's a bigger crisis coming, and I think it's really the food crisis. And when you start talking about famine, we're drought, and we're talking about moisture patterns on the planet shifting. And when you start moving wet patterns up or down, north, south, you're going to start impacting people. And depending on how severe that shift is, it could be cataclysmic. And when you run out of food, look at what's happening in Venezuela. You don't hear about Venezuela in the mainstream news. That, folks, is an absolute humanitarian catastrophe happening down there. Those people are getting into, it's getting barbaric, cannibalism. Now, when you begin to think on this on a much broader global scale, and you got world powers, you've got money, you got armies, start thinking about it. That's a real scenario. How about this one? The Daily Mail. Meditation doesn't make you a calmer person. Buddhist practice leaves people just as aggressive and prejudiced. Okay. If every 8-year-old in the world is taught meditation, the world would be without violence within one generation, the Dalai Lama claims. But it appears the respected monk could be wrong. For scientists have revealed the trendy Buddhist practice does not make you more compassionate, less aggressive, or prejudiced. Meditation, incorporating a range of spiritual and religious beliefs, has been touted for decades as being able to make the world a better place. However, researchers from the UK, New Zealand, and the Netherlands have found meditation doesn't change how adults behave towards others. Well, there you go. I don't know. So now they're saying does no good at all. Well, I happen to disagree with them. I think if meditation by itself, yeah, listen, you could meditate on being really evil. In fact, I think that's what happens. I think we have a term for that called premeditation. Premeditated? Premeditation. Ah. So, in one sense, their argument has validity. However, I would counter that and say, well, it depends on what you're meditating on. I mean, the reason why this article, I think, is skewed is it says, well, psychologists using mindfulness or other Buddhist derived meditation techniques are now advancing similar ideas about the prosocial effects of meditation. It depends on what you're meditating. I mean, wow, isn't that what religion is, though? I mean, I was there. Read my Bible every morning. Hour prayer walks, sometimes 2. That's meditation. I don't know. There you go. I disagree with the article, but anyway. Folks, there are some crazy whack jobs in high places. And there are people in high places in government who actually 100% believe the world is heating up. And the problem is they're starting to actually, well, start doing some crazy ideas. We see the chemtrails. Well, they've admitted that. Now they think that they've got the green light to, well, let's start really experimenting. And again, I don't know. Is there another planet Earth next door that we don't know about? This one bothers me. They're shooting stuff up in the air. I mean, we know about HARP. I mean, it's, again, have the world powers militarize the weather? I don't know. I mean, they're talking about some crazy stuff in here, man. Anyway, there it is. Go ahead and check it out in Bloomberg. It's worth the read. It really is. Now, this one just gives me the warm and fuzzies. So, right before Obama leaves office, we send over almost $200 billion cash on 3 private jets. Well, we know what they're doing with the money now. Mass producing drones strapped with smart bombs. Folks, I'm a simple man. But you know what? It's that old acumen. What goes up comes down. If they're building these things, what? They just have this obsession of looking at bombs? Oh, let's just strap them to a drone? Oh, smart bomb. I don't know. You ask me, they're going to use them. China in world first deployment of experimental electromagnetic rail supergun aboard a warship. And I just did a story about them militarizing these man-made islands and these reef islands. Now, there's the one that we're talking about specifically. But folks, this thing is a bad, bad gun. There it is. There's a closer picture of it. Look at that. I mean, how many do they have of these? We don't know. But these are electromagnetic guns. The Germans were trying to work on them. Why? Because when you can get a projectile to be going Mach 10, now if you can keep a material and a compound together enough to resist that kind of heat, because, you know, the faster you go, the hotter it gets. But yeah, folks, I don't know. Anyway, world's changing. Lake Michigan, just did a story on this last week. Remember how it's Lake Superior that the lake is getting because of the mussels? You know, they're basically filtering the entire lake 4 times a day. Well, here they got sticky piles of toxic PFAS foam plaguing Lake Michigan. I don't know. Toxic fluorochemicals leaching through the groundwater. All right, wait a minute. Keyword, groundwater. Second, keyword, leaching. That ain't good. So it says the foams contains alarmingly high levels of per and polyfluoroalkyl substance known as PFAS or PFCs. Now, we've all known that this was bad. Listen, I predict in 100 years from now, we will begin to find out all this water, all this liquid that we have put in plastic. What we've been doing is what the Romans did in their day. We're drinking lead. We're just drinking different types of carcinogens. That's just my opinion, but I think that this is going to be found out. Again, the whole planet, every human has been virtually contaminated if you go and take it that direction. But this one is just, this is just wrong. You read onto this article, it's in the actuaries, it's in the tributaries, it's along places in the lake itself. And apparently it gets on you. It's not easy to get off. So anyway, there you go. So I don't swim in the lake. Now, I did this for political humor. Things are about to get weird in California, folks. I don't know what they got planned for 18, but welcome to the Twilight Zone. And I'll let you read this out because, you know, everyone has their right to their own political opinion. But I think when we start getting some really whacked out laws out there, that at some point. Now, this one, the New York Times, no children because of climate change. Some people are considering it. What I hate about this narrative, and the word hate is strong, but this is the deception. Our planet is in constant climate change. And to abandon potentially the prodigy of your namesake merely because of a false narrative that has been twisted. Instead of what they should be saying in here, climate change is normal. Now, overpopulation may be another situation. I don't know. But anyway, that's my thought on that. I can't see what you folks are saying in the chat room. Maybe everyone left by now. Who knows? You folks, Trisha G, talking to you girl over there. Listen, Britain's first private police force has 100% conviction rate, is now investigating murder and rape. Private police force. Municipalities, governments are employing and deploying private police force who, think about this, 100% conviction rate. Well, and they've prosecuted more than 400 criminals. That's a stellar track record, isn't it? So you folks over in Britain, write to me about this. The TMI is now believed to bring more private convictions than any other organization except for the RSPCA. Wow. My local policeman. Are y'all really doing that over there? Over here, I don't know if they are. If there's actually deploying private police forces on American streets, I'd like to know about that. I don't know in America where that could stand constitutionally. Seems like there would be a real problem of liability. But anyway, that's just my thought on that one. I've talked about this before, and I've heard from many of you, got some really good friends over there, good email friends that live over there in South Africa. It's bad, folks. Something's changing over there. So hear me on this. So you can go back and you can look at the geological record. We have seen some anomalies happening in that global part of the world, that region. And that is, in 2017, they measured a number of very strong seismic earthquakes. And I'm talking fives and sixes. And it's in a region that's where there's no known fault lines per se. And who knows, they may find them there. But I wonder if what we're seeing underground is also moving. But apparently this is getting bad, folks. And I don't think that sometimes we really stop and think about this. The absence of water is the absence of life. And when you begin to think about having to relocate millions of people, where do you put them? Where do you build the infrastructure? How do you support that? What country would be willing to absorb that? Because what happens is that when natural resources like water become scarce, that's when people tend to get violent. As I said, there is that philosophical thought that collective consciousness of unity is impossible for humans. We'll never reach a place where we are unified because of the one basic thing that we are born with. And that is, when we're born into this death plane, for some reason, we fight to survive, to live. Odd. All right. China. China moves 300,000 troops closer to the North Korean border. The game of Risk. Stratego. How many of y'all used to play that as a kid? I did. Was a champion at it. Again, they're strategically placing assets. Now, I lived in Austin, Texas for a number of years. Loved it. Ran a couple of companies down there. And one of the great things that a lot of us Austinites were really proud of was Whole Foods. It was a great restaurant. Excuse me. They got a restaurant in there, but it was a great grocery store. It was an alternative to the dominant Kroger's, Safeways, Albertsons. I was there when they started it. But now, since Amazon has taken it over, it is hell, folks. Just hell. People, the employees, they've got this inventory system that, Jeff, let me tell you, if you're trying to just run the company out of business, close it down, man. Fire the morons who developed this inventory system. It sucks. It doesn't work. Your customers don't like it. That was commentary, but it's a fact. Now, I know folks over in England and other places, Australia, New Zealand, y'all listen all over. Yeah, it was a great concept at one time. Well, here you go, folks. If you want to get a free paycheck, go to California. They're going to start giving $500 a month, no questions asked, as a starting point. The numbers could get even higher, could go 10 times as higher. Now, I don't know about you, but there's a thing I've learned in life, and I'll share you this. The one thing that's common is, how shall I say, insanity. Common sense is something that we lack today. We don't have common sense. Our politicians don't have common sense. I mean, the masses don't have common sense. And it's that story that if you saw a person who was hungry and you have two choices, you can give that person a fish and feed their belly for the moment. Or instead of giving him a fish, you give him a fishing pole and you show him how to fish. This is just giving them a fish. And this is really, you know what the problem is with this? And I'll just tell you, in my opinion, this is no different than getting a person hooked on heroin or crack. You get them addicted and you take all their incentive away. You take all their ambition away. I don't agree with this. I think this is insanity. Now, as we get near the end, and I know you're all applauding, get this, folks, have the Daily Mail. Gender-bending chemicals found in plastic and linked to breast and prostate cancer are found in 80%, 86% of teenagers' bodies. My God, what are we doing? BPA. I keep telling you, folks, we're killing ourselves because you can't find virtually anything that isn't in this plastic. Almost 90%. And it's gender bending. That means it's altering DNA, folks. This is the crisis of the future. It's already an ecological disaster. Look what's happening in all of the major oceans now. Anyway, there you go. And the last two stories as we come out. I did this story a year ago, but it's good. It's good to see that NASA is now admitting they don't know what it is. Yeah. In fact, these are all on the program that I did. So weird, isn't it? Friday night. Yeah, that story was a sad one. So here we go. Brenda Fisher and I will be doing a expose. She has been researching this for months. And folks, it's here. It's happening. We're going to show you the evidence so that you can actually see it for yourself. But we are in the midst of a magnetic pole shift. The flip is coming, and we're going to see this. Okay, well, that was fun. So how many people have left? Everybody left. That's all right. I won't bore you anymore tonight. I appreciate it. Probably won't do any more of these, but I find them fun. All right, folks. We'll talk to you later then. Bye-bye.